Hey guys, it's Sour, and the WoodyCraft Relay Challenge is still very much on my mind. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that is the Twitch livestream that I did with Monkey on Saturday, August 23rd. So I said I was going to make this video in the YouTube livestream upload that went up just a bit ago, and in this video I just wanted to talk about how it went down and reflect a little bit, talk about some of the highlights of the stream and some of the highlights of each game mode, and also some of the lowlights and the low points of the stream. Stuff that I would have changed or planned for differently, and that I'll definitely take into consideration for the next time that we may choose to do a big event stream like this one. Of course, the Twitch VOD was the last video I uploaded on this channel, so if you wanted to skip around and see a certain part of the stream, you can go there. But in this video, I just wanted to talk about what we did in the stream itself, and more specifically, the challenges we completed in each game, how it went, some really epic stuff that happened, and some not so fun stuff. And I did link our Google Doc with the list of game modes in the description once more if you want to see it in its entirety or follow along as I go through it. And I will get right into it. First was Factions Ice, and it went really well for sure. We got a pretty easy base land up in advance because finding a base on stream is not fun, nor is it fun to watch, and with a challenge of Raid 1 base, we had to make sure that we had something in our league that was ready to go. So we built the cannon on stream, we got into the base, and that challenge went really smoothly. There was some funny stuff, like a mysterious ticking noise coming from the base, which we later discovered was an automatic farm using bone meal, so that was interesting. But Factions Ice went perfectly, lasted around 40 minutes, and then we moved into survival games. And I knew we set the bar pretty high for SG, because it is one of our favorite games, and we didn't mind sticking around in there for a bit. But my god, I was not prepared. We figured, alright, yeah, SG games take around 10 to 15 minutes max, and we've got a really strong team, so let's say we lose 3 to 4 games on our way to the 6 that we need to win. We should be good and out of there in under 2 hours for sure. No, it ended up being around 2 hours and 25 minutes, being the longest challenge that we had to do. If every challenge took that long, it would have been almost a 40-hour stream. It can be a bit tough. We have a lot of friends that are more than willing to help us out, but it's also hard to know where they stand in deathmatch. Do they want a fair fight? Do they want to all turn against us to prolong the challenge? Or do they want to sacrifice themselves to us? So that was a bit challenging at times, and also both Monkey and I experienced some very strange NVIDIA OpenGL driver crashes, and at several points in the stream my client in Java just got really buggy and crashed. It looked really cool though, and in other game modes I can just hop right back in, no problem, but in SG it's a pretty big deal because that means you just lost. You can't get back in. We actually had to skip the Romania map, and to make up for it, we got our 6th win on a different map, because every time we got close to winning on Romania, for some reason, we both crashed, sometimes at the exact same time, and it was just us two, so don't know why that was happening, but we got through it. It wasn't so bad, and we were still fresh. It was early in the day, but we did start to form some concerns for how the rest of the day was gonna go. Next up was Skyblock, where our goal was to build the end portal, so we needed about 100k. I started out doing some farming, and Monkey built a house for the end portal. It was going well at first, but soon it got very slow, at least for me. I didn't have a task, I didn't have anything to do. Making money in Skyblock isn't an active process, it's very passive. Like if I needed to make money in factions, I could go out and mine for iron and make some decent money. In Skyblock, I'm just waiting for things to grow, waiting for wheat, waiting for trees, waiting for netherwort. There's a lot of waiting. We actually got paid 100k right off the bat, which we did suspect would happen because there are a lot of people with millions upon millions on Skyblock that would more than likely be willing to help out, so we paid that right back. Because we did want to do some work ourselves, we did want to spend some time on that challenge. Eventually, however, as the house build came to a close, we started accepting more and more gifts to reach our goal, and I didn't see that as cheaty. Yes, we could have made the money purely from our own farms eventually, but the first priority is to be having fun and to keep the pace of the stream up and continue through the game modes, and after all, part of Skyblock is about the community, so I don't regret accepting some gifts here and there, and completing the challenge when we did. The next game was Skywars, and that challenge was flawless, really not much to say. There was of course a bit of trouble getting into the same game together, really looking forward to the massive Skywars update coming soon with party systems, team games, and much more. But when we did get in a game together, we won 3 out of 3 of our games, no problem, built our little house, and we're on our way. There were a couple of tense moments where my ender pearls almost knocked Monkey off, but other than that, Skywars was a breeze, and we were out of there in under 25 minutes. Then we went to Creative, another good challenge I thought, definitely a unique one, and the 3 chat suggestions ended up being an F. Kyle sign, a smiley face, and a milk tank, although I'm pretty sure Zach wanted us to build a milk tank, so we built a milk tank and a milk tank to finish off Creative. And the next game was Factions Fire. Now, the challenge wasn't flawed, and should have in theory gone very smoothly, but little did we know this was going to be a dark spot of the stream, definitely a low point. Midway through the raid, as I was building the cannon, Monkey had some trouble with his internet, the kind of trouble that is in no way his fault. So some asshole thought it'd be funny to send an attack his way, leaving me all alone, and that sucked for a few reasons. Obviously it sucks to deal with that. I know what Monkey would be going through, the feeling that you can't really communicate or tell anyone what's going on, being pretty helpless, attempting to bring everything back, and we had such a great day planned, and to have something like a DDoS ruin it, it sucks on many levels. But the biggest thing to me was not that, okay, Monkey's having trouble right now. It's the fact that, is he going to be able to come back and stay back, or is this going to plague the entire stream from now on, constantly getting hit off? Is he going to be able to return and continue the stream? Because we knew going in that this stream might attract some negative attention of that type because of some of the hype we've been giving it in the week leading up to it, and we talked about it in advance. If one of us has internet trouble, the other should try to continue the best they can with the challenges until the other person can come back. So I continued to slowly raid the base, and I did get in. Monkey would occasionally be able to hop back in a call and get on the game, and then get hit off again, and I was just sitting there really concerned mostly about how the rest of the day would go down. I'm not the best solo streamer, I'm not the type that can carry off an entertaining conversation by myself, and I knew that if Monkey couldn't come back and stay back, this was going to be a very messy and potentially short stream, and also we were only something like a third through the challenges. And a lot of the later challenges rely on two people, like the kit PvPs and the survivals, basically everything we designed with two people in mind. And I knew I wouldn't be able to finish the challenges by myself, and postponing or canceling the stream is definitely not something we'd want to do after all the planning and hype. So we just had to continue hoping that things would get better with very little control over the situation. And thank God they did. After about the fourth time of getting back into a new call, whoever was being an asshole out there decided they had enough. Really sucks, but I guess right now that's a part of streaming. By that time, I had already wrapped up the Factions Fire Challenge, so we moved into Speedrun as I prayed to a god I don't believe in that there would be no more trouble like that. And sure enough, there wasn't any. I still don't know why I was never targeted, but I'm grateful that that didn't return for the rest of the day. So complete change of tone, into the Speedrun Challenge we went, which remains my favorite challenge of the whole day. We started off with our own best maps. Monkey went into Cave and I chose Harbor, and I actually went flawless and set a new personal best on the first run-through of the challenge, so that was pretty cool. I was only about 8 seconds off the Harbor leaderboards, and for someone who really isn't that great at Speedrun and wasn't really trying that hard, I was pretty proud of that. So we got through all the maps without much trouble. I really think that the Speedrun Challenge was the best challenge in my opinion. It worked out perfectly in summarizing the whole game mode, and we spent an appropriate amount of time there. I wasn't wishing we could spend a whole bunch more time there, and I wasn't at all sick of it and wanting to move on. It just worked, so that was my favorite challenge of the day. Next on the list was Prison, where we just had to grind for a little bit and prestige out of our current wards. There was some shanking, which we definitely expected, and there were some huge gifts that we did not expect. So because of those gifts that helped us through a majority of the grinding that we had ahead of us, we ended up spending some PvP time in the yard, so we wouldn't just be out of there instantly. So after 40 minutes in Prison, I prestiged out of Alpha for the second time, and we moved on to Survival Infinite. So, oh my, in terms of action and excitement, this was definitely the low point of the stream, I would say. We built pixel art statues of each other, but the thing is, my skin is way harder than Monkey's skin. Monkey had 3 colors, orange, lime green, and black. On his face, it's a bit more complicated with a bunch of 3D stuff and a few different grays and some red and some pink, etc. But obviously my skin is much harder to build. I felt bad the whole time that I got off so easy. So I was finished probably before Monkey was even halfway done through no fault of his own, and I didn't have a whole lot to do after that. I took it as an opportunity to eat some of the food I'd prepared in advance. I imagine that section wasn't too fun to watch. I muted myself to eat and was standing still in game for about 5 to 15 minutes at a couple points, so I apologize about that. And I would mark the end of Survival Infinite as when I began to feel a bit worn out and getting a bit tired. That's where it started, when we were about 8 hours into the stream. Then we got to Kit PvP 2.0, which went well, but I also feel that it went a bit long. 100 kills got to be a bit monotonous, and it wasn't much of a challenge because our gear was really good. It was just a lot of clicking, so my hand started to get a bit sore from that, and I was a bit worried about Kit PvP Origins and Barebones, which I thought would definitely be harder than 2.0. And we had the same kill goal, but we were done in about an hour, and we moved on to Survival Hardcore. Yeah, so Survival Hardcore, being the second longest challenge just behind SG, was a lot tougher than I expected. After we made the Survival Hardcore challenge, which as you can see in the document was to build a house with a bunch of stuff including a level 30 enchantment table, we took a look at the kits, and we saw that we get basically everything we need. Everything to build the house, and the beds, and the furnaces, and the chest, and we even get obsidian for the enchantment table. So we didn't need a diamond pick and 2 diamonds, we just needed the 2 diamonds. It seemed like basically everything we needed to do was to find some reeds, set up a reed farm, then find 2 diamonds. And we were basically done the challenge. Nope. I know you need leather to make books ever since some update a long time ago, but for some reason, that didn't cross my mind earlier. The first bit of trouble we had was when we found out that we couldn't actually run the first 2 kits that gave us basic tools and food, so we were starving quite a bit at first because we had to walk for quite a long time before finding a place that was relatively untouched by people. If I could go back, I would have prepared a home somewhere very far away so that we could skip the walking part and get right to building and searching for materials. So when we finally got settled, I spent a lot of time searching for cows, and I actually did find one, and it was an epic journey to lead him back the 300 blocks or so in the middle of the night, but I never could find a second cow. So things were starting to look dim. I had no idea if I'd ever be able to find a second cow close enough to the base to lead back, because we needed 45 leather or something like that. We needed to breed them, we couldn't just kill everything we saw. And honestly, that sort of thing, trying to lead animals or control villagers and anything having to do with mobs, really isn't something I enjoyed doing in Minecraft. They're just really derpy in general and feel really fragile, and they're really slow too. Going out and finding diamonds and putting them in chests, something like that's no big deal, but I was scared the whole time with that cow just sitting out there in his pen that something might be able to kill him. Eventually, I was rescued from my search by the amazing, the one and only Nelly Pinelli. This guy impressed me so much. He heard I needed leather, so he invited me to his castle of a home with a crazy expanse of exquisite corridor systems and chest rooms and farms and aesthetic builds. This guy's home was so impressive. I never want the Survival Hardcore server to reset just for this guy, although I know it will, and survival will get better, so I'm excited for that part. But I hope at least he's okay with it, because I was so blown away and so impressed with the sheer amount of time this man has invested in that build. Keep in mind, it's Survival Hardcore with no health regen, very limited kits, no way to buy things, no shop, no economy, so he got all of that stuff, which is why it blew me away. So I don't know if you're listening out there, Nelly Pinelli. You said you were watching the stream, but I have no idea if you watch any of my videos. If somehow you are, thank you very much, good sir, for the helping hand in my time of need. So we were pretty set from that point forward. I found the 2 diamonds we needed, and then we just had to wait for the reeds to grow. We had 2 options. We could sit around for half an hour in our house and wait for them to finish growing, or we could just go to one of our old survival homes and get some reeds from there. And we chose the latter because, once again, the priority of the stream is to keep having fun, and we knew that we had completed the challenge to the point that if you wanted to argue in court that we cheated, yeah, you're right. But if you use common sense, you can see that we definitely completed the challenge appropriately, and I do not regret the decision to move on at that point. Then, in Kit PvP Origins, we were getting pretty tired, and we knew that 100 kills was quite the goal. And we never asked for help, but some of the friends of the stream, like Zach J, Ninja Fisherman, Den Melonman, Sharu, probably more that I didn't mention, all kept jumping down without armor, which was quite nice of them. So we played some Blocks vs. Panthers, as we called it, and racked up quite a few kills that way. So definitely a big thanks to the friends of the stream for helping us out there. You can call us cheaters and say that we were boosting, but I don't feel that what we were doing was dishonest, and that's what matters to me. I'm not boosting in secret and showing off my stats like, hey, look at how good at PvP I am. That's not it at all. So I'm not trying to be sneaky and get away with anything. So say what you will, we're just having a good time. The next game was Spleef, about which I have nothing to say. It went perfectly in all 3 of the maps. We were the last 2 left. I won 2 and Monkey won 1. So, haha, take that. Not that it really matters. In this stream, when one of us win, we both win. Blocks vs. Zombies was next. That also went really well. We won our first game without too much trouble. Then we went to Kit PvP Barebones, the second to last game, and we had a lot of fun 1v1ing a ton of people. I did a lot better than I expected, or just got pretty lucky in the 1v1s, because I'm really not good at soup PvP at all, so it was a bit surprising. but it took a really long time to build up kills, and it was getting late, so we took a vote to move the goal from 100 kills to 50 kills. Changing a challenge is really not something I wanted to do, because in some ways it destroys the principle of a challenge, the fact that you do it whether you want to or not. But on the other side of that argument, it was just the right choice. We were pretty worn out, and we had appropriately conquered Kit PvP Barebones, and we put it up to a vote, so both of our opinions and the majority vote voted for let's move on. And that's what we did, and I do not regret that decision. I think it was the right one. So lastly, we did the death runs on the event server. Actually a challenge I was looking forward to all day because I quite like the parkour type challenges. Even though I'm not the best, they're just cool to do and quite rewarding when you finish them. So I finished the Death Run 2 just a couple minutes before Monkey finished Death Run 1. That timing worked out really well, and we wrapped up the stream there. So there it is. This video went a bit longer than I intended, just like the stream did. But I'm glad I got to talk about how it all went down. Definitely a learning experience. We'll know a lot more for the potential next time that we put together an event stream like this. Hopefully that does happen someday, probably not for a little while. But when that day is here, I'm sure I'll make another promo video for it, and it should be a good time. So that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.